part 3 of the full scope of the Domino's machine hacks that's been going on in federal court. It turned out to be far worse than just the Big Pen hack. If you guys are new to this series here, I've already covered 4 other clips of this trial that's going on, which will probably result in Georgia having to go into all paper for their selection, hopefully starting this year. But thus far in this series from the TGP about Dr. J. Alex Haldeman, who is a university professor of computer science. This person was able to exploit critical vulnerabilities of the Domino's BMD, the marking devices, okay, in the machines in Georgia. This is in federal court as part of the demonstration in the long-running Curling versus Raffensperger suit. In part 1 of the series, we covered the explosive testimony and demonstration of University of Michigan professor Dr. Alex Haldeman in the federal lawsuit. We already know about that. Why are you repeating that? We talked about the Big Pen hack, the SD card hack, right? The Bash Bunny. Bash Bunny is it's a $120 device you can buy, and you can plug it into the USB port of a computer that's on, and it'll help you like break into it and stuff. The simple and inexpensive creation of voter/poll worker and most importantly technical smart cards to attack the Domino's ICX BMDs, which only cost $30 by the way. Part 2 talked about the SD card. No, I'm sorry. Part 2 was the Bash Bunny and the fact that their logs, their security logs were updatable. They can just go in there and say, nope, this person, nobody logged in after this time right here, you know. So that's right here. I already covered those 2 videos. But here we go. No one will know. After the Bash Bunny installation of malware in under 2 minutes without breaking or removing any seals, Dr. Haldeman demonstrated in his video a mock selection. He had 5 ballots that were a yes or a no contest. All 5 were marked yes and verified as yes votes on the human readable text. However, when the votes were tabulated, the results were 2 votes for yes and 3 votes for no, despite the ballots all reading yes. Further, this attack could be programmed to initiate only on certain ballots. Dr. Haldeman testified and stated, instead of cheating on every ballot, you could program malware to cheat on every second ballot or every third ballot, so that if a voter noticed a problem and complained, and then was instructed to go back and to the machine try again, we'll see if it is a problem with the machine. When the voter repeated the same selections, the ballot would come out correctly, right? Because if you tell the machine to only do it to 1 out of every 10, it's only a 1% chance that they'll get hit twice, right? So 10, 1 over 10, 1 divided by 10 multiplied by 1 divided by 10, that's 1 over 100. That's how you calculate the probability of this. This would inevitably make the attack almost undetectable at the local level, as most poll workers would likely assume a voter simply made a mistake rather than thinking the machine was compromised. This could also be used to program the Domino's BMD to either subvert the logic and accuracy test by starting only after a certain number of ballots have been created, or to detect it being tested based on the date and time. So in other words, it's saying that, every time they reset these ballot machines down to 0, they get to do a test, a test, and when they do, they usually test about 100 ballots. Okay, so we'll make it so that the first 500, this logic will not do anything. Okay, so that the logic and accuracy tests will come out okay. It can also be programmed to only become active on selection day. So in other words, you're not going to test it the day of, you're going to test it the day prior, right? So the day prior, checks out, and then comes selection day, bam, Tuesday, it starts to work. It starts to screw over the numbers, right? And it also deletes itself after an election so that it passes any audits or testing of the machines that are conducted. Yeah, that's right. The expiring malwares, right? According to the testimony, vulnerability number 7 is that there isn't an effective cryptographic protection in the ICX to validate that the applications installed on it actually are genuine software that comes with Domino's. All the above attacks involve physical access to the BMD system and are rather centralized to just the Domino's machines that was attacked. However, Dr. Haldeman described an attack that doesn't require physical access and can seemingly be far more widespread. He testified that these attacks were particularly concerning. He stated in quotes, "These vulnerabilities provide a way to install malware by piggybacking essentially on the normal pre-election processes that are used to install the ballot information onto all of the BMDs prior to an election." Dr. Haldeman described the pre-election process that is undertaken before each election, where every Domino's machine is loaded with an election definite file. The file tells the BMD what is supposed to be on the ballot for that jurisdiction. Election definition files are created for the entire state at the Center for Election Systems in the Secretary of State's office, Crooked Raffensperger, using an election management system, an EMS. The computers used to create these files are running Domino's software and are disconnected or presumably air-gapped. The definition files are copied onto a USB stick and then sent to the counties to be installed on their selection management system, which is also disconnected. An attacker can make certain modifications to the selection definition file in a way that allows the attacker to overwrite other files on the BMD when the selection definition is loaded. This attack would not be readily observable by the user, but once installed, the attacker would get the ability to overwrite another part of the data on the system. Wow. I bet the Domino's guys, I bet Coomer wasn't expecting that these machines would be examined by a university professor of computer tech, huh? Yeah. The attack could grant super user access with as much as a prompt automatically. And because it originated in the selection definition file, this would infect every Domino's machine in the country the attack targeted. Dr. Haldeman testified that this type of attack could originate with a selection insider or someone who broke in or obtained physical access to the selection management system computer. All that would be required is to simply switch out the selection definition file and put one created by the attackers in its place. I hear you. The facade of security. Dr. Haldeman testified that the version of Microsoft Windows being run on the EMS servers was a 2015 version that had not received any security patches. Further, the Windows Defender antivirus software was also significantly outdated. In quotes, he says, the antivirus software installed on the machine, Windows Defender, had antivirus definitions that were more than a year out of date. And as a result of that, the system contained a large number of unknown, unpatched vulnerabilities and not antivirus updates that would cover even known malware, let alone malware specifically crafted for the purpose of attacking the server. Among the vulnerabilities in Windows that were not patched was a known vulnerability that Microsoft had categorized as critical and would allow malicious software to automatically launch and install itself from a USB stick. Exactly the sort of vulnerability that would enable a Stuxnet style attack if an infected USB stick was attached. He then reiterates that the EMS servers have a known and unpatched vulnerability in Windows. More to come in this case as this case progresses. During the testimony of Dr. Haldeman, attorney David Oles was not permitted to ask questions of Haldeman. Oles represents co-plaintiff Richard Davis of Voter GA. Yesterday, the TGP reported that Oles was able to get profers submitted to court regarding Haldeman and Dr. Philip Starks' testimonies. This explosive testimony and live demonstration is currently underway in the North District of Georgia in Judge Amy Totenberg's court.